the way.
We're wanted men. I have spoken.
This is how it's been all morning. I left my computer on all night because I was doing video or photography yesterday. So welcome to episode 143 of the Smugglers Galaxy podcast, your favorite Star Wars podcast for smugglers in the galaxy. Man, I'm getting all kinds of notifications right now. It's Memorial Day. Jason's a little bit under the weather because he was outside all day yesterday, and with graduation, I was outside all day yesterday. My sister-in-law got married, and they asked me to be the photographer because I have a nice camera, and I used to do that. And my computer's been on all night, and it's just running slow, and yay, life. Jason, other than having allergies, how you doing?
I'm here. I'm well. Other than having the allergies, I'm great. So
Awesome.
Can't complain.
Sweet. How'd graduation go?
Graduation was great. As in true Wasolko fashion, we have too much food for too few people.
Oh man.
So like it was just a bunch of kids, and then like the immediate family was over. So we made like 3 briskets for pulled pork. So we have tons of pulled pork now.
Well, you said brisket and pulled pork. Those are two totally different
sorry,
things.
pork butt. What is it? Yeah, I think she got pork butt, and you pulled that apart for it. Sorry, yes, that's what we got. But she got 3 of those. We have tons of barbecue, and I shouldn't be complaining because there's people starving in the world. And we have where I'm going with this is that I'm on Weight Watchers, and I've lost 15 pounds. And now we have too much food in the house. We have too much cake, chocolate cake.
Oh,
and this is a problem for me.
I may have to swing by there later for lunch, man. I'm looking I need to figure my lunch out.
Yeah, we have plenty. So if you want to swing by, that's fine.
And you can't turn down chocolate cake. Did your wife make the cake?
No, we got it from BJ's.
Oh, well, that's okay. It's not as good as your wife's cake, but yeah.
But it's
Sam's
still
Club
edible.
makes it. Huh?
It's still edible.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like Publix cakes, man. For that buttercream icing just doesn't sit well with. Not doesn't sit well. I just don't like it.
And after our trip to BJ's yesterday, I went to Target real quick to see. We needed a couple extra things. We needed spoons and forks, so we were low. So we went to Target, and I turned down the toy aisle, and guess who's there? Jordan and Richard.
Oh, I thought they weren't recording this week.
They weren't recording. They were just doing a toy run. Jordan was trying to get that Ant-Man Marvel Legend. So they were there hanging out, and we got to chill out for like 5 minutes. And my wife texted me, "Did you find something good?" And I was like, "Yes, Richard and Jordan." And she's like, "Oh, take your time."
It's not like we just hung out 2 days ago.
Friday night.
Right.
But yeah.
Awesome. And day late dollar. Actually, Target, dude, I hadn't even seen anything in Target, but I've been like too late at Walmart. So
yeah, it feels like that quite often. I haven't been able to find anything myself at Target or Walmart lately. I did find like a fresh pack of Series 1 of the blind packs of Micro Galaxy Squadron. I'm like, they overproduced this one because we need Series 2 and 3 to hit store shelves, not Series 1.
Yeah. I can find Series 2, but I'm still afraid of the blind boxes because, you get like 15 Mandos.
Well, luckily this week, because of you, thank you, sir, you picked up the Antok Merrick Micro Galaxy Squadron X-Wing, and I was ecstatic about that.
Yeah, I did not realize that was a chase.
Because it didn't have a sticker on it.
Right. And that's something I want to get into later because I think there's a reason. I think that's the reason why that was still sitting on the shelf.
It's quite possible.
But I want to get into the topic late, in a minute once we get through the weeks and the news. That I have a theory about the Micro Galaxy Squadron.
Okay.
But yes.
But then the other things that I picked up this week, I did post. In the club page, I posted that the Galactic Star Cruiser's closing down, and I'm bummed that I'll never see the experience because they opened that up this past week, and it is 100% solid booked until the closure date. Everybody's trying to jump on and get that. Even if I had the money, there's a good chance I wouldn't have been able to book anything because there was issues with people trying to get through, busy lines, things like that. So if you got in, great, congratulations. If not, then it's going by the way of the dodo bird. But I did post that I was bummed that I won't see the experience or get the exclusive droid. And someone, Barry, reached out and said, "Hey, I have an extra one."
Oh, that's awesome.
I was like, "Oh, really?" So I was able to get that. So now I have the Galactic Star Cruiser exclusive droid as part of my collection.
That is awesome, man. Yeah, I forgot to mention last week while I was in Disney World, man, my wife had sent me a text. She goes, "I got you something, but I don't want to spoil it, but I don't want you picking it up while you're down there." So she got me the droid popcorn bucket, which was actually ended up being a Disneyland exclusive. So that's that was cool.
The chopper one?
The popcorn.
No, which droid?
The droid popcorn bucket. It's black and it's got like 4 different pieces. It's got a red leg and a purple head.
But what kind of droid?
Oh, it's a R2 unit.
Okay.
It's basically what they did was they took a droid depot droid and just gutted it and made it a popcorn bucket.
Okay.
Imagine
cool.
it's that size and
that size.
Yeah. That scale, and it's got lights and stuff on it, so the eyeball lights up. It's pretty cool.
I picked up a couple magazines this week for Action Fleet and Galoob.
What's a magazine?
Cool. Yeah. It's a prehistoric thing that back in the 90s we used to carve onto tablets. Is that the word? Stone tablets. But yeah, no, I got those. I was excited to open those up because I know they used hard copies for that photography.
Oh yeah.
It's quite possible my hard copy could have been in that magazine, but the Emperor is different because, as I mentioned before in this podcast, the Emperor that came with the Royal Guard, he has lightning bolts kind of going down his dress or his robe, I should say. And they didn't paint that in the final production version. Mine, it's kind of blotted on. They didn't like take a fine pen or fine tipped paintbrush and paint the lines. And that's what it looks like in this magazine photo. So that's a little different. So I don't know if that's, I don't know.
You have to find like that one smudge that's on yours and see if it matches with what's on there. There's some people that make a lot of money doing that.
Yeah. I need to dedicate some time to figure that out, but who knows? And then the other thing that I picked up this week, I got a bunch of Micro Galaxy Squadron rejects. That's how I'm going to say it. Their production version, they're unpainted, but some have paint smears on them. Some, the legs don't articulate as well. So I'm like, these are probably rejects. These aren't probably anything too special.
Yeah,
but the fact that they're unpainted, it's pretty cool. I did get a first shot Hera and Mando for that line because they are different colors than production.
Yeah,
so I can say with confidence that these are pre-production items.
That's awesome.
But that's it.
I'm still trying to sell my DT Luke so I can buy some stuff, and nobody's biting on it, man. It's crazy. You think I don't know if I'm overpriced. I think I'm about where I need to be, but nobody's biting on it.
No, and I was talking to someone who's a vendor on our Saturday night chat, and he was saying that Star Wars is soft right now.
Yeah, and it's literally about people have offered me like half of what I have in it, and I'm like, I can't take that big of a hit. I can't take that big of a hit. I did put some, I had some sealed Voltron that I put up on Deal or No Deal, and I'm better than what I want, than what I have in them, but not my, I don't want to sell it price. So I guess we'll see. I'll let them sit for a little bit longer. I don't know. I don't want to get rid of them, but if it helps me reach this other piece that I'm looking for that fits in my collection better, I'm okay with that, but
yeah,
it just sometimes it sucks being a collector when you got to make a decision like that. What are you gonna you get down in your collection room going, what am I gonna sell to get the next thing I want?
So I haven't listed anything on Deal or No Deal. There's been a couple times that have been close, but I I'm a guy that doesn't like playing games. What why would I list something and just say, hey, make me a deal versus buy it now? Like if there's a number that I want, let's say I want $300 for my item, why not just list it, buy it now, $300?
I people do that. I probably am gonna go back through on my Voltron stuff and be like, this is what I want. But I see people do that, but then you have people that go underneath it and start bidding it up. And it's like, dude, the guy just said, like you said, oh, I want $300 for it, but then you'll have people bid $100 on it. And it's like, why are you wasting your time?
Yeah. I guess maybe that's it. Maybe you're just hoping people get fever and they'll bid it up. Your 300 piece sells for 700.
Yeah. I've also, people yelled at me when Deal or No Deal first came out. I was throwing like $50 bids on $1,000 items, just hoping that somebody would be like, F it, I like that guy. He can have it for $50. But it never happened.
Someone's living the dream right there.
Yeah.
I wish they were living the dream, I should say.
Like, yeah. So I stopped doing it. And you bid $50 on things, and then they accept it, and you're like, mother effer, what's happening? I didn't want to pay $50 for that, but
yeah. Yeah, I guess that's the reason why you would list something like that first, buy it now.
Yeah.
So,
and then I did, and then like on my DT Luke, I put my buy it now price on it, and people are like shocked at what I want for it. I'm like, that's what I have in it.
Right.
And I've seen some saw some at another convention that's and the guy's got the same price on it. So I'm like, I'm not that far off, people. And then people are, so because mine's graded a 75 plus, and then somebody had like an 85 and they're wanting double what I want. If not more than double. So
yeah, Star Wars is just soft right now, and it's tough to sell anything high end because I feel like people are just pulling back a little bit, and they're saying, not in this economy.
Yeah, it just sucks.
But did you pick anything up this week?
Or
are you just saving your money for your big item?
I'm kind of saving my money for my big item, because we did talk about it with Jordan Friday night when we were all hanging out. And it does feel like it's like, okay, you could spend $20-$30 at a time, or you can just hold it and save for that big item, because Joe Fest is coming up in 2 weeks. There's a swap meet next week. So there's things moving around. There's things in the future that we can spend money on. So I think I'm kind of holding off, try to get both of those things out the way. Yeah, there's some art I want to buy that's come up that looks freaking amazing.
Yeah. Hold it together. It's just
yeah. What else? So I don't know. I haven't really picked anything up. I haven't really seen anything that I've been 100% interested in. I'm getting frustrated with things, which we can get into in a minute. And just
as far as news, so we can get through this real quick so that you can talk the thing that you want. There's not really much. Indiana Jones, all 4 movies plus the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles hits Disney Plus on May 31st, which I'm excited about.
Well, because then I don't have an excuse anymore.
Yeah. I do remember seeing, it's actually funny, I'll have to pull this up real quick. I do remember seeing the beginning of the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, but I never finished it because it wasn't Harrison Ford. But I must have seen, hold on one second. I go to my memories on Facebook. I scroll down. 15 years ago on this day that we're recording, I must have seen Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull on May 29th, 2008. And my review was CG gophers didn't bother me, nor did the Tarzan thing. It was the CG stunts that I didn't like. It didn't seem real enough for an Indiana Jones movie. George Lucas should stop surrounding himself with yes men. It's not a challenge for him anymore. He always said episode 4 was like 40% of what he envisioned. So I think what I'm saying is that when he's got challenges, he needs to be creative.
Yeah.
And with the dawn of computers, he can do whatever he wants. He doesn't have to think creatively.
Yeah.
As in, like, how do I achieve this shot? Oh, I'll just throw computers at it.
Yeah, and that's not fun.
So that was my hot take with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, is that too much CG.
Oh, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I thought that was for the
that was
okay.
Crystal Skull. Sorry.
All right. No, I'm good. I got it now. No, dude, I do have to agree with that it does feel like it feels like that with anything when they can do it on computers. Yeah, they're like, oh, we'll just CGI it, when, back in practical effects where you had to really think about it.
If you did a shot-by-shot comparison of the scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark when Indiana Jones is underneath the vehicle, you might not think that's Harrison Ford, but you 100% know that's somebody underneath that vehicle.
Right.
And then if you were to cut to Shia LaBeouf swinging like Tarzan through the jungle, but you 100% know that it's all CG and those aren't real monkeys. I know you can't really get monkeys to do what you need to do in that scene. You have to use CG, but just the fact that he's swinging in front of a green screen, it's like, if this was made during Raiders of the Lost Ark in the 80s, they would have to have used real swinging vines. Like,
yeah,
it would have been a different movie.
Right.
That's all.
No, I feel you. It does. It does. Gosh, yeah. When you see a bad CGI, it's just bad.
But it's not even bad CGI. It's just, we know, like, that's fake. Like, there's something off about it. That's fake. So it's just, like, even like good CGI, like, the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park are fake. So it's like, that does take you out of the movie. Anyways, the other
do you know Jurassic Park's 30 years old, man?
Yeah. I feel
Holy
old.
smokes. And then also that means is because I saw that movie on my graduation day, so that means I'm old.
I was 13 when I saw that.
That's what we went, because we did our rehearsal in the morning, and then because the book came out. This is books, even weird. We knew the movie was coming out, so a bunch of buddies read the book, and then we went saw the movie, and then did graduation that night. So, yeah,
I'd be interested to see, because the book is completely different than the movie.
A little, yeah. I think the boy and the girl, those roles are swapped, so the boy's older than the girl versus the kids.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't remember that detail, but Spielberg did make John Hammond more like Walt Disney, whereas in the book, he's a corporate jerk who cares very little about anything. It's just about profit. There's differences. There's a whole different scene of them floating down in a raft. Like, I would like to see Jurassic Park be remade as like a TV miniseries or like a 4-part streaming show on Peacock Plus or something like that. And I know that might be like, you can't do that to Jurassic Park, but if you got closer to the book, I'd be interested, because it's like a 180 different property.
Right. I didn't read that book, but yes.
Yeah, the book is phenomenal. Even The Lost World was pretty good too, unlike the movie.
Yeah, I also need to get all the Harry Potter books and read those.
Yeah. Those are good too.
Yeah. But you know what else I need to do? I need to finish Heir to the Empire.
You're still reading that since the beginning of the year?
Yeah, dude, it's this damn thing. You end up on your phone and
the Galactic Star Cruiser, finishing up on that topic last week. More news has come out, and it seems like it's going to be a $300 million write-off. And if they write it off legally, Disney can't do anything with that property. They have to demolish it. They can't reopen it, because then they owe the government money, because it's not a complete write-off. And I'm sure there's some sort of financial penalty for writing something off and then coming back with it. So if they do take that write-off, they can't use that property, which remains to be seen. They haven't done it yet. The other rumor was that Imagineers were in the bar a couple weeks before the decision, or the week before the decision to close the property was made, and they were reworking the bar scene. So there's like a nighttime show that they were reworking. And then also Imagineers wanted to incorporate the Mandalorian and change the timeline and the story a little bit to make it more of the popular property that Star Wars is right now.
Yeah.
The franchise, I should say. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm struggling. I'm on drugs right now for the allergies. So, but
No.
yeah, that was the thought. And the other rumor is that none of the Imagineers who worked on this thing are looking really good right now.
Yeah.
Like a black eye on their career, which I think is bad because everybody who's been on it says it's a phenomenal experience. It's just too much money. And I don't think the price point should knock the reputation of an Imagineer down.
Right. No, it's you're right. And I don't know, man. I'm hurt that they, I think it was bound to fail from the start type thing, because people are like, oh my God, well, first of all, when it came out, it was $1,000 a night. Then all of a sudden it was $5,000-$6,000 for the experience. And I think there's a lot of people, that's a lot of money to spend, especially when you're going to take, if you're going to take your wife, and the wives are going to be like, I'm not LARPing for 2.5 days or 40. It's not even 48. It wasn't even 48 hours. And it just, I think, like you were saying, I think they need to turn it into a dinner show if they're going to do anything with it. But Disney does, just when something don't work, they like washing their hands of it. It could be really cool if they did a dinner show, because, well, the thing would be is you'd have to have tickets to the park, and then you do the dinner show, which some people do it, some people don't. And then you could, because they've got the docking bay right there on Batu, and you could just walk out there and be like, I'm going to the Star Cruiser, and then come back.
Yeah.
But it's, I don't know.
It doesn't sound like they're doing that. Yeah. Dinner shows don't seem to do well either alone.
Right.
Although I say that, and like some of those restaurants are impossible to get a hold of, like Space 220. Like we're going to Epcot in a couple of weeks, and I couldn't book that because it's booked solid. And I don't think a Galactic Star Cruiser dinner show would struggle. I think people would definitely buy that up. I just don't know if it's worth Disney's price point.
Right. It would probably be $100 a ticket. And then I'm also still aggravated. We do also keep bringing this up, is all that stuff they put in Star Cruiser should be in Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when Galaxy, and dude, I even felt it when I was there last week or 2 weeks ago, that it changed from 5 years ago. It's already changed and gotten less dramatic. And it's like, dude, even 5 years ago when it was at the peak of performance, I felt it needed more. Yeah. So now it really needs more. Yeah. Even though it's an awesome land.
Yeah, it's a bummer, but there is expansion pads back in that Imperial section. There's some sort of area there. Mm-hmm. But we'll see if anything ever comes of it. There was at one point a rumor where they had like 40 domed spaces, and you would get on a speeder bike and you would fight the other 40 people. But it was like some sort of VR, like those battle pods. Have you ever played that arcade game?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Is it like a dome thing, and you would get in your speeder bike and you'd be just surrounded by the dome, and then you would go flying through the forest and you would try to shoot the other people, and like the last person would be the winner.
Yeah. As long as it was something to where you could respawn pretty easily, like if you suck at the game, you're not out in 30 seconds.
In 30 seconds, and have to wait an hour to play a 5-second game, and you accidentally hit a tree on your first time out. Oh man.
Right. You'd have to do something where like you can respawn, but then like if you don't respawn, you win or something crazy.
Yeah.
But
maybe you just fly around as a ghost.
Yeah.
A force ghost or something. But anyway, yeah, good times.
Good times.
That's it for news. So let's go ahead and complain about your micro galaxy thing.
No, I was just, because we were talking about it, texting back and forth after I found your Antok, the chase, that it's like I am seriously kind of semi getting depressed over this whole situation. Because you keep going and you go and you go and you go and you go and you never find anything. And then you find something, because you'll pass a Walmart and you're like, oh, they're not at Walmart. And then a week later, somebody found something at that Walmart. So it's, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. And so then you're depressed because you go into all these Targets and you go into all these Walmarts and you don't find anything. But then if you don't, then somebody finds something at the Target, at the Walmart you skip. And it just, it's getting to the point of depression for me over it.
Because it's Sabine. Because it's Sabine.
Because it's Sabine, yeah.
Because you didn't care about Antok, right?
No, I didn't care about Antok. Right. It's because it's Sabine, and it's a ship I've been waiting 10 years for.
Yeah.
And somebody finally made it, and you can't find it. And it's getting to the point, as much as I love this line, it's like I just want to throw my hands up in the air.
Yeah.
I
saw someone post about the whole chase situation, and I had to check myself, because we as Star Wars collectors like to think we're different. We're a step above the normal collector.
Yes.
But it's just really, we're just another, we just have our own traits and ethnic get these drugs. We've got our own ticks, and we've got our own issues and things that we've got to deal with, and and sometimes it's even more difficult, but we do like to collect them all. But right. I have to check myself, because there are Marvel Legends people who like to collect them all. Just because I like to collect them all doesn't mean I'm better or different than anyone else. So it's just frustrating when there's that chase situation and you can't get them all, and I can't get them all, and I'm struggling with that as well. But it is part of the game.
Yeah. And it literally, I know I just said it, but I want to give up. I love the line, but it's like, like with the blind boxes. I mean, I understand the blind boxes, and they've kind of lowered the price. I think they lowered the price a couple of bucks, but it's like, how much are you going to spend to find that one chase? I mean, I don't know. I've got blind boxes that have chase in them that are just sitting in I just laid them in my collection room. I haven't even opened them yet.
Yeah.
Because it's so frustrating sometimes.
Well, if it's not something you're passionate about, don't collect it.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. You don't like that answer.
I don't like that answer, because I want that effing ship.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I love this line is freaking amazing. That ship that I'm holding, a black First Order TIE fighter, that is an amazing ship. It's sitting on my desk because I haven't brought it downstairs, because I love this ship so much.
Well, Max even said that he anticipated the overwhelming response of Ahsoka, and that should not have been a chase. So
yeah,
he's learning too. So I don't think chases is going away. I think, unfortunately, that's just part of the Jazzware thing.
Yeah, and I don't mind. I'm gonna contradict myself. I don't mind the chases, but I feel that, like the Antok Barrett I found for you didn't have the chase sticker on it, and it hit me later. I think that's the only reason why it was still on the shelf, because I think when you're calling it out, going, it's a chase, the people stocking the shelves don't give a crap. They just go, oh, if this is rare.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, because Hot Wheels made their own version of these ships. It's a different scale. It's the same, but it's die cast and just as detailed, just a different style. They have chases in that line too, but the only way is the logo, instead of being red, it's blue.
Yeah.
So there's unless you're calling it out. Yeah, they don't call it out, and it's very subtle. And Hot Wheels does that. They used to on the cars, they used to call them out more, but now you have to know what you're looking for. And if you don't know, you have to like tilt up the thing, and there's a sticker underneath the car on the Hot Wheels, and you've got to look for it. So I'm just curious if maybe that's an answer to everything, to where, they can hide it, that, hey, this is special, showing it's special, but you got to know what to look for.
It's quite possible. I don't know.
Because I was in one Target, and they had 2 chase of those Hot Wheels sitting on the shelf. And in 2 different ships. I was like, wow, I've never seen 2 chase sitting on a shelf.
I have seen that Falcon chase where it's battle damaged on the shelf.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I think it was either the Razor Crest or a TIE fighter. But their chases are battle damaged.
But what are the numbers on their chases? Do you know?
I have no clue. Yeah. It seems about 1 a case.
Which is more than Micro Galaxy, I would think.
Yeah. I think they might throw a Sabine or a Hera in there. They might throw that like 1 per case, but you don't know which one you're getting, because when you do see them, you'll see I think they ship them 6 per, and you'll see 5 sitting on the shelf.
When you got that Antok, was it like a fresh case on the shelf? Like, were there other vehicles on the shelf, or was that the only one?
There were 2 other vehicles on the shelf. So there was 3 of them sitting on the shelf.
Yeah, I don't think that's a full case. Well, is it 4 per case?
I would assume on the bigger ones it would be 4 per, but I don't know. I don't know the numbers.
Probably got a fresh one.
Yeah.
Someone just put it out.
And it was and it was at one of the Targets, I don't know, where they have like the mini Disney store in them. It was at one of those.
That's where I found my white TIE fighter. Just got lucky, stumbled in, and it looked like someone had just put it out like an hour before because there was just so many of that series 1 out. So it's just, sometimes it's luck, it's determination. It feels insane sometimes to be like, I need to go out toy hunting today because I've done it every other day this week and I haven't received it yet. Or I haven't found it yet. So I got to keep going today. And I get tired.
And thankfully at my job, it's also getting to the point, it's not affecting my work, but I'll pass a Target. I'm like, oh, I got 5 minutes. I'll run in there. And you trek all the way back to the toy department, and then you trek all the way back to the front of the store with your head down because you're just, you got that hope and anticipation that you'll see something.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, oh crap. And then it's getting to the point where, like I'm looking for a Back to the Future, the Toyota truck from Back to the Future. That's a hard thing to find. But then you'll go and you'll see a Back to the Future card on Hot Wheels, and it's stuff you have. And it's just a bummer.
I got frustrated this week because I did find the new wave of the vintage collection with Cassian in disguise and all that.
Yeah.
I didn't see the Clone Trooper. I think Cal Kestis was repacked in that line, but I was like, oh, I pre-ordered that. I'll get it later. And came to find out that was the wave that Hasbro hasn't opened for pre-order.
Oh man.
So there are people who have it already. I don't, and that Clone Trooper was not open for the Clone Trooper, they're packing 1 per case. Why? I don't know, because it's an army builder.
Right.
Seems like that's the one you pack 2 per case, but I'm not the scientist behind packing things in boxes for Hasbro. And it seems like that's the one that goes first when it gets put on the shelf. And I'm just afraid if I'm not on the computer right when I need to be for Hasbro Pulse, that I'm not going to be able to get that Clone Trooper, which is frustrating. But yeah, I completely forgot that Hasbro didn't open up pre-orders for that one, so I don't have it. And so if I see it on store shelves, I should get it.
Yeah.
Conversely, the Gamorrean Guard Black Series is at Target, and I pre-ordered that. And it's like, it's been weeks, and Target hasn't shipped mine yet. And I'm like, do I just cancel it and I buy this one because I know the card's fine?
Yeah.
Like, what? I don't know. It's just like, what is going on?
Yeah, I don't know. I just remembered I bought the Darth Raven Hallmark ornament.
Hallmark, yeah. That was supposed to be we found out, a Star Wars Celebration London exclusive, and it never made it overseas.
Yeah, and it was no fanfare. It was just thrown up on the site. I had a buddy message me going, dude, get this, and you could get it hours later, and it was limited to like 5,000. And Hallmark, those things go fast.
I think it's still available.
To me, that's crazy if it's still available with them only producing 5,000 of them.
Because I thought I got an email from Hallmark saying, you've got something in your cart. I'm like, well, there's a reason why it's still there, because I don't want it.
I tried that game with Disney with the Ezra lightsaber that came out.
It's out of stock. It's officially out of stock.
Okay, cool. But sometimes you'll throw something in your cart, and then like a couple hours later, they'll email you with like a discount. Yeah. Disney's just like, hey, you forgot this. And I'm like, it's just one of those things that there you go. I really wanted it, but it was $200, or it's $180. And then by all the fees and crap, you're at almost $200. And it's a cool lightsaber, but I really want his first lightsaber if I'm going to buy one.
Yeah.
So anywho.
So those are the woes of a modern collector.
It's horrible. And I just remember the days, because like David Quinn on his podcast was like, hey, remember your Return of the Jedi stories? And I just remember going into a Toys R Us. You go into a service merchandise. You go into, I didn't have Targets where I lived. There was Walmarts, but you'd go into all these stores, and they were everywhere. Anytime you wanted something as a kid, you just went to the store.
It's a different time.
Yeah, and these kids today, modern collecting is totally, totally different, man. And it kind of it loses its soul a little bit, loses the fun out of it.
Yeah, and I was thinking about, like, why do people hate things now, but they accepted it with wide arms when they were kids? And it's really, I think the brain doesn't stop evolving until you're 18. So you physically think differently after 18 than you do before 18. And you're able to accept things. And I do remember watching, I have to go back to it, Temple of Doom. There's a scene where they're hanging on the side of a cliff and there's water pouring out of it. And my mom's like, that looks so fake. And I'm like, there's nothing fake about that. That looks incredibly real. And it's not until I was older, I'm like, oh, I see what she means. That's incredibly fake. But when I was a kid, there was nothing fake about that. It looked 100% real to me. And so I think people just think differently when they're older and times have changed. And you think of things, you think of your past with more nostalgia and golden atmosphere around it. And it's just really, our brains were different, completely different. And we saw the world differently.
Dude, as a kid, this is how silly. I mean, where you're going, I'm gonna one up you. I didn't understand as a kid how it could be daylight outside and you're watching nighttime on TV. It didn't. My brain didn't comprehend that.
Yeah, when Harrison was a kid, he's like a toddler kid. He's like, the moon follows me everywhere I go. I'm like, well, because it's always like wherever he was, he could look up and there was the moon because it's following him. It's like, no, there's this coincidence. It rotates around the Earth, kid. But yeah, you see the world differently.
Yeah, and you
think differently. Things don't make sense, but
right. And
that's the danger of nostalgia.
Yeah, it is, man. And then it's like you'll go to Disney World and you see like the little kid experiencing it for the first time, and then you're just like, this is awesome to see something from see a little kid experiencing it for the first time, because it reminds you of back in the day how awesome it was.
Yep. Oh. So what else?
I don't know. I think yes.
So Robert Ortiz told me to share this. There was an article about some professor. I can't remember. Do you remember seeing that? The headline for the article? I didn't read it, but he said that the aliens are walking among us right now.
Oh.
We're going to put on our tinfoil hats. This is for Robert. Just fair warning. I'm going to go off on the deep end, conspiracy theory land. But there was a professor who said that the aliens are probably here and they're living among us. So who knows? Maybe the person. This is the X-Files portion of the show. So I told Robert, I know. I've seen. I know. He's like, dude, you should share that on the Smugglers Galaxy podcast sometime. So this is for Robert Ortiz. I've seen 4 objects in the sky. I can't explain them. The first one was pretty weird. I was on an airplane and I did see some sort of softball shaped item fly by the airplane. It was below the airplane because I was looking down at the ground, and I was on the airplane. I like to see like the terrain and all that stuff. And I thought it was a bird at first, but it was round. It was about the size of maybe like a bowling ball or a softball. It's kind of difficult to see, but it was a ball. And it was flying in the opposite direction of the airplane without wings or anything. And I don't know what that is. At first, I thought maybe it was a chunk of ice that flew off the airplane, but that would fall down, not sideways. So I don't know what that is. Okay, great. Moving on.
No, keep going.
You could be,
dude. I'm with you.
Scully to my Mulder.
Yeah. Dude, I agree. I know. I believe that there's other stuff out there. This universe is too freaking big for us to be the only people here, or only beings here.
The second item I have to share, which was the first time I saw something weird, I was really ecstatic because I'm like, did I just see a UFO? Because as a kid who grew up watching Star Wars and X-Files and Independence Day, like, to see a UFO was like the greatest moment of my life. And I was up in New York, and in Syracuse, you can see the stars a lot better than you can see here in Atlanta.
That's the worst part about living in Atlanta, man.
Yeah, the light pollution. We at the Christmas time, we went up to the Telus Museum and we went to the planetarium, and they like show you all the stars in the sky, and then they start raising the light pollution from the city, and you can see like 3 stars. Before they did that, you would see thousands of stars, and they raise the light pollution, and like, oh, there's 7 stars in the sky. Great.
Wow.
But I was looking at the Dipper, and everybody knows the Big Dipper. It's the 4 stars that kind of make the pot, and then there's the handle.
Yeah.
And right in the middle of the pot was an extra star.
Uh-oh.
It was just hanging out there. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense because there's not a fifth star. And I was on the phone with my wife at the time. I'm like, what am I looking at? Because this doesn't make sense. Like I was just saying, there's a fifth star in the pot and it doesn't make an X. It's a square. And I'm watching it, and slowly it starts to move north towards the top of the pot.
Mm-hmm.
And when it got to the line that would have been the top of the pot, it starts to fade out. And it looks like from the ground, it was making like a curved shape going up. Not like it was going straight up, but it was like curving up. And as it was curving up, it was getting dimmer and dimmer, and then it was completely gone. It was pretty awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, dude, I want to see something one day.
Keep your eyes up on the skis.
I need to pay more attention to stuff.
The third time, excuse me. Well, this is the second time I saw something, but I was getting on the on-ramp in 41 in Syracuse, and the airport's nearby, so it's not uncommon to see airplanes flying in and out as I get on the highway. But I had my eyes on this thing for about 15 seconds because the next day I recreated it just to figure out timing and what was possible. So for 15 seconds, I was getting on the on-ramp, and straight ahead of me, I saw the typical saucer-shaped craft just hovering in the sky on an angle. It was glistening from the sun. It was silver. I'm like, I'm not looking at what I think I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is impossible. I'm not looking at what I think I'm looking at. This must be a plane banking. But no, it just hung there, didn't decrease in size. It just stayed there. And I'm like, okay, it's about a half a mile away. And where I need to get on from this highway to that highway is about a half a mile away. I'm going to be under it soon. I'm going to see it. It's going to be an airplane. And so as I'm getting onto the highway, I had to turn my head for a few seconds to see the other cars to make sure I'm not, hitting someone, an oncoming traffic. It took about 2 seconds to do that, just to make sure I wasn't going to hit anyone. I looked back, it was completely gone.
Damn.
No sign of anything in the sky, not even an airplane. And I figured, due to its proximity to me, its size, if it was an airplane banking, I would have seen the backside, the side of it, something, but it was completely gone.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was about 20 seconds of thrill in my life that I'll never get back again. I don't know what I saw. The third and final time, I've already shared this one on the podcast when Rich and I were going up to PowerCon last year. This to the day, I'm still trying to figure out what this was, because we saw it from a while, from a distance. It looked like a helicopter hovering. It had a blinking, flashing light. And as we get closer and closer, I thought maybe, because it was triangle shaped, so I thought it was two billboards coming together at a point.
Mm-hmm.
But as we got closer, it wasn't. It had nothing holding it underneath. Nothing was holding it up.
Right.
Because if you're driving by in a car and you see a triangle shape in the sky and it's being held up by a pole or something, each point of this triangle had lights on it.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, from the car's point of view, as you're passing these lights, that pole in the middle should obstruct the light. And there was nothing holding it up. It was making no sound.
Mm-hmm.
It had like 4 or 5 lights on it, white lights on each point, green light in the middle. There was no floodlights flashing on a billboard. There was no pole holding this thing up. There was no sound of rotors, no motor, nothing like that. I can't explain it to this day. And the thing I don't understand is, like, why would a UFO be hovering right over a highly populated highway?
All right.
And on the way back, there was nothing there. There was no billboards or anything like that. So it was dark out. I should mention that. It was probably like 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. We were pretty close to Columbus. I know that Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is there. Allegedly, the bodies of Roswell were taken there. So who knows what kind of stuff was being done at Wright-Patterson. I can't say. It's all speculation. But those are my 4 experiences. I can't explain it. That last one was driving me nuts. And I even mentioned on the podcast, I had pulled out my phone to record, but that triangle shaped thing, but my phone, it did pick up the lights and everything, but it was blurry. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, like, I should have hit record. I should have just hit record.
Right.
But I was like, I don't know what I'm looking at. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to I don't want to play with my phone to try to get it to focus. I want to look at this thing for as long as I could.
Right.
No other cars were pulling over to stop. I should have told Rich, stop, pull over. Let's get out of this car and look at this thing. I just kept driving, and I'm like, I just want to keep my eyes on it.
Yeah.
Like, so ashamed of how my brain was thinking in that moment, because it's like, no, pull over and record this damn thing until you figure out what it is. Maybe it is a billboard.
Yeah, dude. No, I'd have done the same thing. You're just like, oh crap. I mean, what if you would have pulled over? What would have happened? They could have, you could have lost time or something.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing I'm just thinking about, and I've never really seen it, is maybe it was being held up from the backside.
Mm-hmm.
So it's making like an L shape. But I've never seen, I don't think, maybe I need to pay more attention to triangle shaped billboards, the ones that have two sides so that both sides of the highway can see it.
Right.
But I seem to remember they all have the pole in the middle.
Yeah.
Not on the backside. So who knows? Maybe. But that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. That's what I've seen. I've never seen a Sasquatch or a ghost, but those are on the list too.
Yeah.
Things that I'd like to see.
Have you been up to the Sasquatch Museum up in Blue Ridge?
Not yet. It's only $8. I should do it sometime.
It's not worth. Don't go up there just for the Sasquatch Museum. If you're going through Blue Ridge, stop.
Yeah, if I go up there, it's either to go tubing down the rivers up there, or I go to Mercer's Orchard to go pick apples and have the fritters and the apple pies and all that hard cider.
No, it's about an hour. It takes about an hour if you read everything. It's really small. It's worth it if you're in the area, but don't make the trip.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you. I believe all that stuff. I keep it's always kind of freaked me out when you're in the woods and you hear something, and it's like, oh, is that a Sasquatch? Or because I believe there's other stuff out there that we haven't found. That, when you look at like the oceans, how big the ocean is, and there's stuff in the bottom of that ocean that nobody knows.
Yeah.
And there's stuff in the Himalayas and stuff in stuff in the high, mountaintops that humans can't get to, but you don't know what's adapted to live up there.
There's a CIA agent who, due to some sort of loophole, is able to discuss some of this stuff. Is a senior analyst or something like that, and he did say that the government knows exactly where these craft come from. They come from the ocean somewhere, but he can't disclose that.
Interesting.
But they know where it comes from, allegedly.
Apparently,
I don't know. Like,
dude, and you know what? I would not argue that, we got some Aquaman down there in the ocean that's popping up to see stuff. And you know what? Truthfully, we may be looking in the wrong place. We maybe need to look in the oceans versus into the sky.
Yeah.
Wow. But I never thought about that. That's a very interesting theory.
And then there's the F-15, F-35 pilots who saw stuff. That's a very famous case because the pilots are experts and they're trained to see things in the sky and stuff like that. And they did try to chase one. And somehow it got to, like, they were supposed to be in point X and they were in point A following this thing. And the thing took off at 36,000 miles per hour to that rendezvous point, almost like, I know exactly where you're supposed to be right now. And it was jamming their signal intelligence. So it was intelligent enough to know that it needs to jam the pilot's signals. Otherwise, they can learn information from it. So that shows intelligence, but it was hovering over the ocean and on the coast of California. And apparently these things are seen all the time out there.
Wow.
And I try to figure out, like, well, now I'm going off on the deep end. Why?
No, dude, do it.
What would be the ramifications of the government saying, oh yeah, it's true. It's, for the past 70 years, we've been studying these things and we know what they are. And it's like, well, there's the religion aspect. I do think there's a certain part of the population that will go into some sort of psychosis where they're just like, I just need to do the roses today. I just need to do the roses today. Like, I just need to plant. I just need to focus on this one little thing because they can't handle the idea. And this would be a very small part of the population. They can't handle the idea that we're not alone,
right?
That we've been visited and we're being visited. But I do think, like, the religious aspect of things, like, would Christianity break down? And I don't think so. I don't think people would suddenly say, "Oh, nope, Jesus wasn't real," or whatever the case may be. I shouldn't call out a specific religion.
No, but I get you. I mean,
but
yeah.
I do think that would be folded into religion. All of a sudden, the biblical watchers are suddenly aliens. They've been here all along, and they need to adhere to whatever practice we have, or whatever the case may be. But
yeah, I think it would go the total opposite. But I mean, as you know, why would the government? I think the government would be protecting us because they don't want us going batshit crazy. Because I think it would be mass hysteria.
Yeah, but I think there would be some panic. I do think there would be some need for mental health. What does this mean? How does this affect me? But at the end of the day, I still need to take the trash out on Tuesday.
Right.
Like, there's basic things that need to happen. I need to feed my kids. It's not like suddenly aliens are going to go get public subs for my kids at 5:00. I need to do that myself. Right. Like, I need to get the job to get the money to buy the khakis and all that stuff. So
right.
I think it would be a tough transition. Also, I do think like I was saying, the Independence Days, the X-Files, like that's been preparing us for some sort of disclosure at some point. So
yeah, dude, it's gonna happen one day. It'll just, and I think it'll be one of those where, yeah, we've known all along, and here it is.
This is a fascinating topic, and I have heard 2027 as a year that the aliens are going to be like, saying this out loud sounds insane, but the aliens are going to disclose themselves, and the government needs to step things up. And that might be why suddenly Congress is looking into this stuff. And it's a big concern that people in the US Capitol are not taking this as a joke anymore. It's not swamp gas. These are serious threats to our infrastructure, our country, and we need to figure out what this is and why do they come within 50 feet. There is a video of a pilot, U.S. Air Force pilot, who had a near collision with one of these objects.
Wow.
Where's that footage?
Right.
Over this past spring, there was the incident with the balloon, the Chinese balloon.
Right.
And then they shot stuff down over the Yukon, Alaska, and then one of the Great Lakes. And there's always dash cams. There's always cameras on these vehicles. Where are those cameras?
Right.
Or where's the video from those cameras? What did they shoot down? Having worked in the defense industry, I do know that at some point the government needs to control what is released, because it's not a top secret. It's a top secret thing because they don't want the enemy to know what we know.
Right.
We know what they know that we don't want them to know that we know. Like, if we shot down a Russian piece of property or a piece of tech, we need to keep that a secret so the Russians don't realize that we suddenly have that signal that they've been using. Right. Because that helps us get ahead of them, because it's just warfare tactics. Even though we're not at war, we still need to stay ahead and to do that kind of stuff. So maybe that's part of the reason why we haven't seen the footage.
Right.
But maybe there's other reasons.
Like there was an alien waving hi to him as they shoot him down, coming, "I come in peace.
I come in pieces now because you shot me down."
Or they give you a cookbook that says how to cook humans.
How to serve humans.
Yeah.
How to serve 2 humans.
Right.
No, how to serve 4 humans.
Yeah, or whatever that.
How to serve humans, how to serve 4 humans, how to serve 4 humans, FOUR.
Oh.
Wasn't that the joke on the
It was something like that, yeah.
Because they kept brushing it off.
Yeah, was that Twilight Zone?
Yeah, Treehouse of Terror.
Oh.
But yeah, that's for you, Robert. I hope you enjoyed that. Anybody else, I apologize. For the purposes of this podcast, it was for entertainment purposes only, unless it was for Robert, because in that case, this is true. There was another time.
Yes.
I was cooking on the grill. It was nighttime, and I did see something weird in the sky,
yeah,
shooting around. And I go, "Shannon, get out here!" And she comes out there, and she's just like, "That was weird, but I don't know what that is." And she's just like, done.
She's just like, "I married a man-child."
Yeah, basically. But anyways, anything else?
I think
we've
good.
Killed an hour.
Yeah.
I have to pull up the script. I should have memorized it by now, but I think I've relied too much on reading it that my brain has failed to memorize it.
Right. Well, next week, real quick, Powder Springs Toy Show is next week, or swap, and then the week after that, Joe Fest in Augusta.
It's also the next. I'll be attending.
Yes,
I'll be there.
The next, say that again because you broke up.
Oh, the next Georgia Alliance of Star Wars Collectors North Chapter meetup will be June 10th. So I'll be there. I'm not going to Joe Fest.
That'll be up in Gwinnett. But I made a deal with somebody, so I got to go to Joe Fest.
Yeah.
Darn.
Well, thank you for listening to, and thank you for suffering through this episode of Smuggler's Galaxy Podcast. If you could, please leave a like and a 5-star review of the show anywhere you listen to your podcast. If that's allowed, it really helps us out and helps people find our show. You could follow us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Send us an email or message us. We'd love feedback, and we'd love to make you part of the show. Our email address is smugglersgalaxy@gmail.com. Thank you to Alfonso Riviera for the Smugglers Galaxy logo. You can find him on the Rock the Force podcast. And thank you to Levi Waterhouse for the Smugglers Galaxy music. Hasbro re-release VC66 hashtag vote with your wallet. Sabine will be on next week. Pass on what you've learned. Be a positive force in the collecting community. This is the way.
This is the way.